All right, here we are in the shop. Get out of the light. Got the roof rack on the Jeep. We didn't get it mounted because we forgot the U-bolts at home, so we're gonna have to run home and get those, but it's on in place. So now we're working on how we're gonna wire this. So I didn't want to use a 7-wire plug, big round thing, that's too big. I have 4-wire trailer harness, but that's only 4 wires, so I was going to use a 2-wire to fill in the other 2, a 2-wire plug, ASE thing. We use a lot of them. I'm sure if you watch some of my other videos, you'll see them for wiring lights and stuff. But then we decided that wasn't the way to go. That we might as well use 2 4-wire trailer plugs and have 2 extra wires that are already run for when we want to add additional, if we want to add additional something. So we're going to run 2 4-wire trailer plugs. So then the next step was, okay, now we got to run the wires down the A-pillar and get them into the engine compartment. And how are we going to do that? Hon, can I borrow the trouble light for a second, please? Yeah, thank you. This is my lovely wife, this is her Jeep. And this is her project. So she's learning as we go. She just removed the dash entirely by herself. How fun was that, hon? All you Jeep lovers, I get it. They're small and they're very utilitarian and they off-road like a mother. Great. There's a lot of crap packed in here and none of it plays well with nothing. To get that cowl off was ridiculous. The hood is in the way of taking the arms off the windshield wipers. Then the hood's in the way of taking the plastic caps off, the plastic nuts that hold the cowl in place. There's a knockout, looks like supposed to be a knockout, down there under that relay. You can see we tried to punch that out, wasn't working. Couldn't find it on the backside up in the dash to know where it was. Didn't want to drill through there. So then we were looking and we saw that little grommet there through the side under the cowl. So that's why the wipers came off and that's why the cowl is out. So now we're hoping, and the dash is out, so now hopefully we can push that plug out and we can run the wires down the A-pillar and in through this knockout here. Of course, then there isn't a hole in here, so we're going to have to drill a hole in here to run them through. And we've already got the one relay here for the spots that come on with the high beams. I would like to add, there's room for 2 relays there, but not 4 or 5. So I'm not really sure where those are going to go. We could put a couple here, move that ground wire back a little, something. Or I don't really like this, like where the air conditioning comes through. That might be a possible place. Or, you know, now that I'm sitting here looking at this, as much as the wipers suck to take off, and that would really be, you know, yeah, forget it. That's not an option. Unless we could cut the cowl so that part of it, like the one side, because the wiper thing is over here, so it would be this side. See there where there's another knockout to run wires. But there would be room for 2 or 3 relays there, or even more. We could put them on the flat surface. You know, I'm liking that idea a whole lot. And not only that, but I bet you got pretty easy access to run wires through that dash through the venting there. But yeah, maybe if we could just take a hacksaw and cut this little piece here and put a couple screws in through the metal, then that could be our electrical access panel, if you will. And the awesome waterproofness there, not in the engine where stuff's going to splash up and spray, and we'll get the wife's input on that and see what she thinks, but it makes sense to me. But that's where we're at right now. So now I think maybe we'll run home and get the rest of the hardware so that we can line up the U-bolts and drill some holes in the brackets and then get that stuff painted so it can dry overnight. This is a late weekend project. My wife took Monday off because we're going to a movie that's not coming really anywhere near us, so we have to drive an hour and a half to see it. So it's 9:15 at night. We started about 7:30 with this project. I don't think the nap we took prepared us for what we've undertaken here. I'll go around, because what I'm seeing on YouTube, a lot of you guys are doing stuff, but you're not showing the process. You don't show that it took 2.5 hours to, and obviously you're not going to show 2.5 hours of footage, but you're going, yeah, that was tough, but you're not telling how you did it. So that's what we want to do. That, yeah, the Jeep's well built, and it's no fun to take apart. And even the Haynes manual isn't a lot of help. So here we've got the lower dash is completely removed, and now we can try to run you had to take the whole bottom off to get the driver's side. So now she can try to line up where the wires are going to go. All right, we drilled a hole in the roof, put in a grommet. We've got our plugs. There were 7 wires, I miscounted. So it's a good thing we had the 2 4-prong plugs. We have 1 extra wire, we can add 1 accessory. We're just going to leave that loose. This is the rack side of the harness. I wasn't thinking when I was talking earlier. This is what will stay outside with the rack. These are the plugs that will stay with the Jeep. So we will run these wires through the grommet, across under the headliner to the A-pillar. That didn't go like I planned, but what has tonight? So here's what we came up with. We had to take the upper panel of the dash off too, and we drilled a couple holes here that connect with that plug that we found on the other side. This housing here for the vent is double wall, so this is not the vent. There's another plastic inside, so we're going to take a hacksaw and cut an 1-inch wide piece out of here for the wires to lay in. So they will come across under the headliner, down the A-pillar, and across here through there. We've got a coat hanger. We're going to fish them through. there. The next stage is to put the roof rack back in place after we run the wires, and then get the U-bolts lined up, and we'll do a little video on how we're going to mount that in a bit. So we've got our hole drilled, our grommet in, the plugs are plugged. My wife is running the wires under the headliner. Can you, thank you, and then I can finish up top. Watch your foot. All right, we did not get the rack mounted. We got the rear mount done. We got started on the front. We got the wires run through the headliner. Hun. Huh. You got them way too tight.
Well, we'll fix it.
These got to go in the A-pillar.
There, pull them back.
And you should tape where it goes through. That's probably enough that you can tape 6 inches there so that it's covered when it goes through that sharp metal. Okay, we got the wires run through the A-pillar, got them snuck through the firewall. We've got them run. You want to turn that lamp on? We got them run across the firewall. We cut the cowling. So in here, we're going to mount our relays and our fuse block. Have a fuse block here. That'll go in there. The relays will go in there. And then we'll use some self-tapping screws on this piece. We'll put a piece of rubber on the top there to cover. I drilled some holes to make it easier to cut with the hacksaw. We'll get that cleaned up. But we'll get a piece of rubber or something to screw over there so that it stays waterproof. But these are our leads to our lights. So then we need to run, I'll run this 10 gauge wire from the battery to the fuse block. And what I'll do is I'll take 2 or 3 inches of insulation off of here, and we'll wire 5 14 or 16 gauge wires so that each fuse has its own feed off of this wire. I have a 10 gauge ground there. We'll run that ground, tie in to all the others. Might even There might be room for a junction block there. That might work. We could do that way. Gave me a look. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. We started about 7:30 tonight. Got a lot done. Stuff never goes as well as you think it's going to. There was some cussing and swearing, but not at each other. So that's where this is at. I know we have this stall. I checked with the people we rent with, and we can have this extra stall for a couple days here. So we'll see. We'll have to get this. This will be priority 1 for the rest of the week. But I wanted to do a little video to show how it's going.